Hello, welcome to Mondays with Mira, and I have a delightful book for you today. It's Let's Go, Hugo, and it's written and illustrated by Angela Dominguez, who has done a whole bunch of books and is also, here we go, also a contributor to our illustration course, The Craft and Business of Illustrating Children's Picture Books. And she also teaches live classes in San Francisco at Academy of Art University. So, let's get started. One of the things I want to point out is how great these end sheets are and how they really give you a great sense of the character Hugo. We're not even in the book and we're already introduced to Hugo. I want you to pay attention to how pleasing that purple is with the yellow. And also have a look at all the texture through mixed media that she has here. It's very cool. And so her work is a combination of very loose and also tight. And she's utilizing every bit of space to visually introduce us to the story. So we see Hugo on the ground here, and all the other birds are up in the trees. And so right away we're wondering, why isn't Hugo up in the tree with the other birds? And crafting a great picture book is all about inviting questions, inviting a desire to know. So let's get started. Hugo was a little bit different. He preferred walking to flying. And he's a rather dapper bird with his scarf here. Instead of living on top of the trees, Hugo lived in a burrow down at the bottom. Instead of building nests, Hugo built works of art. Hugo was content living on the ground. And look how adorable and just how minimal and how loose these characters are at the bottom here. But they're really, really charming. And so it looks like it's a combination of line and collage and maybe acrylics or watercolors used more opaquely and pencil. Have a look at this very loose rendering in the background here of the buildings. So we're establishing that it's in a urban environment, in that there's apartment buildings right there. And now it looks like we're in a park. One day Hugo was finishing his latest masterpiece when he heard a voice. "Hey, I know that building," said a little bird. "Really?" Hugo was overjoyed. "Yep," she said, "you can see it from up here. It's the Eiffel Tower. We can fly there." Oh, Hugo realized it was too far to walk. "My name's Lulu," said the little bird. "Come on, I'll take you." "I'm Hugo," he said, and then fell silent. So, are you guys getting the sense of what the problem is? Lulu tilted her head and smiled. "Well, let's go, Hugo." Isn't that a great line? I have to show you the park before we go," Hugo said. Lulu thought that was a splendid idea. Relieved, Hugo led the way. So I want you to check out just how sophisticated these illustrations are. And one sign of a sophisticated illustrator is an ability to work well with white space, which Angela does here very, very nicely. The other thing that I want to point out here is how as things are much more tighter in the front, the characters are much clearer, and as they get further back, they're a lot less clearer, and this also helps create the illusion of distance. Look how much breathing room she has around her text. So when you're making your dummies, doing your illustrations, leave plenty of room for your text. So we go to the park and get to do all fun things at the park, and then all sorts of situations arise that allow Hugo to procrastinate flying. And I don't want to give the whole book away, though I do want to share this one. "It's getting late," said Lulu. "Are you ready to go, Hugo?" Again, Hugo replied, "We can't fly. It's dangerous for me to fly at night." Let's go in the morning. Lulu yawned. She looked at Hugo. At last she said, well, I should go home then. See you later. And then Hugo goes through all this, like, sadness. Hugo's heart sank as his new friend flew away. He'd never see the Eiffel Tower now. What if he never saw Lulu again either? He tried to run after her, but she was already high in the sky. It was hopeless. And so one of the things when I started this off, I mentioned that it was an urban environment. And we see now by the architecture that it's clearly in Paris. What's the matter, little one? It was the old owl Bernard, perched high up in a tree. It was late and the owl was the only one awake. Hugo was so tired that he blurted without thinking, I'm afraid to fly. Bernard paused and said, well, everyone is afraid of something. I was afraid of the dark, but then I realized all the wonderful things I was missing, like the moon and the stars. If you want, I'll help you practice. Hugo looked down at the ground. He looked up at the owl. It took all of his courage, but at last Hugo said, yes, please. Isn't that gorgeous? These are just very, very wonderful illustrations that are simple, but there's a lot of, as I've mentioned before, there's a lot of complexity in simplicity. And here I'm sharing one more spread because I can't help myself, and I really like the contrast here between the light and dark colors. And I want you to notice how when we see the owl here, Bernard, which may be a play on the word barnyard owl, it's lighter against the dark, and here it's darker against the light. They practiced flying the rest of the night. There were many ups and many more downs. When Hugo finally flew to the top of the tree, the owl said, look at you go, Hugo. Good job. Tomorrow we'll practice more, but now it's my bedtime. So this book, besides having really charming illustrations, and another thing that's really nice is that the back end sheets look like they're very different from the front end sheets. And that's really a lovely touch. And these are really focused on relationships. So this book is chock full of metaphors, of kids learning to do things that they're scared to do, of animals, the owl and Hugo finding their true nature. An owl is meant to be awake at night and not scared of the night. The bird is meant to fly. And that for kids it's the same thing of overcoming fears, to feel safe and confident by practicing how to do the many things that they need to do. And then there's, let's go Hugo, what a great refrain. There's that wonderful, the go and the Hugo and the let's. These are very short declarative words. Let's go Hugo. And Hugo is such a charming name. I also really like Lulu. I'm not going to share any more of this book with you because I really want you to go out and buy it for yourselves. It's a really great book. And I want to thank Angela Dominguez for writing and illustrating it. I want to thank Dial Publishing for publishing it. And I also want to thank Angela's editor and art director, whoever they are, for helping to make this book so wonderful. So that's it for now. Thank you for watching. Bye.